unbelievable stuff going on here. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed. You're in this little corner right over here on YouTube, just so you know. Friends, so there's a lot of amazing things going on. I'm incredibly grateful, and I wanted to share an update with you all. First and foremost, I cannot believe the quality of the applicants that we've received for the scholarship. It is really mind-blowing. I mean, there are so many qualified individuals with great stories of entrepreneurship, facing temporary financial hardship or setback that can't afford the ticket, that want to come and have written extremely compelling, thorough, lengthy. Do you want to get the applications? I just want to share with, I mean, I'm blown away. It's really fantastic, and I'm so excited and beyond impressed. In fact, it's a very difficult decision that I have to make. I think we've received something like 36 different applications.
More than that.
Well, let's go with 36, but look at some of these responses here. I mean, that's one answer. Let me find, this is one answer. People really, really took time and energy. This is another answer. To complete this assignment with thorough and diligence, it's mind-boggling. I am so honored and humbled that these incredible individuals want to come and attend Nashville, and they want to learn. And I'm just flipping through all these. I'm not picking out any in any particular order, but it's an unbelievable amount of applications and detail and information, and I thank everybody for taking it so incredibly seriously. It's incredibly rewarding and gratifying to know that I've earned your trust and that I'm teaching you and you want to advance even more and you believe I can be helpful. I know I can, but it's really rewarding to feel that love coming back in the applications. And I'll tell you this, Erika and I last night, we were staying at the Caldera House, which is a private club that I'm a member of, a ski club. It's also has 8 units, which is a small boutique hotel. It was recently named one of the best new hotels in 2019 by Travel and Leisure. And we were either get in, you want to come sit over here? Come sit over here, because it's just your shoulder. It's a little strange. It's recently named by Travel and Leisure one of the best hotels. And as a member, they invited me to stay for a couple of nights. So we've had a staycation. And we spent last night after dinner, we printed out all of the scholarship applications and we each read them. And I will tell you that it was an incredibly moving night. At various times, Erika was in tears. At various times, I was moved and in tears. And some of it is because people are so inspirational, and the challenges that people have overcome and the challenges that people are facing today that they want to overcome are remarkable. And so it was a really moving day last night. We decided to sleep on it, not make any decisions, and reread them all again today, which we're in the process of doing right now. We're taking this incredibly seriously. And so we will endeavor to do our absolute best to announce the winner tomorrow, tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday, we're going to have a very difficult time. Again, I feel like all 36 people deserve a spot, but we only have 36 seats. Speaking of 36 seats, I think there's 3 remaining seats if people want to attend and want to pay. Now is the time to do it. We're less than 2 weeks away. There's 3 seats. We will, in fact, sell out. And I'm also right now, tonight, right before I went live, we've scheduled, I think, 14 or 15 one-on-one phone calls for the attendees in Nashville. They filled out their homework. They submitted it. I've been reading their homework, and not to take anything away from the people that have put together their scholarship applications, but the people that are attending are remarkable, equally remarkable, perhaps a little bit advanced in their financial situation versus the applicants, but incredible tales of entrepreneurship, incredible tales of resilience, incredible tales of desire and motivation to grow and prosper and see a lot of opportunity in short-term rentals and in real estate, and also learning how to develop investment strategies and methodology to increase wealth and generate a lifestyle that they dream of. So it's been It's been very rewarding. I feel like many of you know a lot about me. You've been watching me perhaps for months or years. You've seen all of my travels, you've seen my girlfriend, my dogs, and so I feel like many of you know a lot about me, but the reverse isn't necessarily true, right? Like many of you haven't shared a lot about yourselves with me. I've got to know some of you on the Facebook group and in YouTube chats, and we've met a few people in person. We've had some meetups along the way, but even still, I don't feel like I know very many of you very well. Well, the 36 attendees coming to Nashville, I know really well now, those especially that have submitted their homework, and I will know even more after the one-on-one calls that are scheduled over the next couple of days. So that's remarkable. And the people that have applied to the scholarship, I know them incredibly well. I know personal details about them that they may not have shared with other people. And it's just really, I'm just very grateful. I'm honored, I'm humbled, I'm touched. I just need to say thank you. So that's the purpose of this video here, is just to really thank the people that have taken the time to better themselves and invest in their future, whether it's financially and they're attending Nashville or on the hopes of attending Nashville, and have put together a thorough response. It's really extremely rewarding. And this is the first time that I've ever had the opportunity to meet some of you at this level, and I'm really thrilled that we're going to take it deeper. 36 of us will be together for 2 full days, and I'm buying dinner after the first night, so we'll have the full day of classroom work and education, and then we're going to have a little bit of social time and get to know each other from a relationship perspective, and meet new friends and make a network of associates, and perhaps even co-invest and so on. So I'm just really super excited. Erika, did you want to share anything about your impressions of, well, why don't you come in here? I know that your shoulder, and this one, they can't see you here, so come on over. Here we go, friends. And you know, we realize that Erika's been a lot on Facebook, not so much on YouTube. So perhaps, is this your like maiden debut?
Maybe.
Could be. And don't forget, the mics are over here.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
but what did you think about the applications that you read?
They gave me great perspective. I think that it's very easy to get, wrapped up in the day to day and in, what's going on in my head and my life and, my personal challenges. And to have read through some of those applications and to have, really witnessed what so many people are challenged by and are conquering and are, the acts of just bravery and boldness and
Courage.
resolution. Absolutely. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, and really put things in perspective for me. And I think also really lit a fire. I mean, this is something that obviously we're invested in, excited about, and that hasn't changed, that hasn't varied, but again, just kind of, fueled the fire so that, I'm so excited, so incredibly excited for Nashville, to, meet whoever it is that's, awarded this scholarship, as well as, the individuals that are, investing and, coming. It's incredible. I mean, obviously I believe in this human and I know he's exceptional. And, I learn and grow from him every day, but
We learn and grow from one another, to be honest and to be fair. But, I just want to say the following. It's kind of interesting. Erika and I started dating, I don't know, 5 months ago or so. And when she asked me what I did, I explained to her that I had this YouTube channel and I taught people how to do short-term rentals and so on. And, she's younger than I am, if you couldn't tell. But even with that age differential, she was like, YouTube, is that a real thing? Like, people really do that? She didn't realize it. But I think seeing how many lives are being positively impacted from your comments on Facebook and people coming up to us at the Tony Robbins events, I think that really changed her perception. But then I think reading the applications, people that took this much time and energy and wrote 2 single pages, single space pages about their life story and where they started and what they've overcome and what they're facing now and what they want to do and what their dreams are and how Nashville is going to help them achieve those dreams. Suddenly, this YouTube thing is beyond real, right? I mean, these are real human individuals, real entrepreneurs, real people that are working every single day to provide for themselves or their family, their loved ones, their elder parents, their younger kids, their single mom, single dad,
Yeah.
just
I mean,
it's
the creativity, the resilience, the investment, the time, that you all are investing and dedicating to this. It's inspiring. It's inspiring. It's incredible. Um,
I see a question here. It is too late to apply. The application process closed Sunday at midnight. We've been reviewing them all. I'm going to pause right here and just say the following. There's 22 people on the YouTube live right now and 3 thumbs up. If you don't want to give a thumbs up for this guy, I comprehend, but give her a thumbs up on her maiden, please. She may never come back again. All right, I'm going to start with the Facebook questions and just see what's going on. Say hello to some people. Hardik, what's going on? Whitney, how are you? Now, there's a lady that I met at the UPW. 36, yeah, it was amazing. Hey, Tim, how are you? Gary, Kenny, I will see this gentleman in Nashville, and I have a call scheduled with you. I believe it's tomorrow. I haven't, reviewed all the things, but I saw you signed up, and I'm totally psyched. I've read your State of the Union, and I feel like I know you, but I'm going to get to know you better on the call, and even better still, 2 days in person. Hardik, how are you? Bethany, how are you? You guys look great. Oh, thank you so much. Alan, my man, I saw you just scheduled our one-on-one call. I'm super excited, and I can't wait to do that either. You have a new starter kit on Amazon. The kit you gave us a while ago is not working. Uh-oh. Hardik, you hear that? The kit on Amazon is no longer working, so we need to update that. You're at a baseball game, you can't hear a thing, all good. Well, listen, I don't know how to do sign language, but here's what you need to know, Alan. This is for you, my friend. And then I'll try and do this. Yeah, you can do it better. Yeah, I don't know. Mine looks like a figure 8 or something. Do you still do paid Airbnb reviews and interested once you're live? Paolo, I don't really do them anymore. They take an incredible amount of time, but there's about 600 or so people that are on a wait list for membership. And one of the things that I would think would add value to that membership is doing those reviews. So I'm working with my team to figure out what we're going to do. Now I'm going to bounce over to YouTube here and just see what's going on. Activate Kruger, good evening. How are you? Andy, what's up, my man? How are you? Nora, how are you? Hola, ¿qué pasa? Your pictures in the background are beautiful. Are they my kids? That's an interesting story. They are, in fact, my kids. Can we just maybe... She's so tall. They are my kids. I had a long-term tenant who was an artist. He did portrait artwork for royalty, literally, I've got a duck on this one too. He did portrait work for royalty in, I don't know, England, Spain, all over the place. And he started doing these gold leaf silk screens. And we had this issue with the one house. We needed him to move. I was going to own or occupy it. It's my single biggest investment, and he was a long-term tenant. And I forget what the deal was, the transaction, but somehow he stayed rent-free for some period of time before we took over the unit. And in exchange for that, he did these 3 portraits of my kids. And I can tell you this with all sincerity, through my divorce a couple of years ago, there was very little that I cared about as far as physical possessions, almost none. What I ended up with that I cared about were these photos. And they will be with me until I pass, and then they will be bequeathed to my children. And that's just I'm tearing up because it's the only stuff I care about, right? Who cares about possessions? This stuff, priceless. So thank you, whoever that comment was, I really appreciate it, even though you made me, I don't know, start to get emotional. Let's see. Oh boy, we have a lot of comments here.
wow.
Yeah, I know. So we were with Nora. Loy was the one who made me teary-eyed. Richard, looks like a fantastic place. Thank you so much. Leaping Owl, how are you? Says hello to Erika.
Hi,
Tracy,
Leaping Owl.
how are you? Bend, Oregon. I'd love to go to Bend, Oregon. I was there once, I don't know, maybe it was a decade or so ago. I guess that was a while ago. But I love Oregon.
It's frequently compared to Jackson.
Yeah, it's very similar to Jackson.
Yeah.
Good luck at Nashville. All the best. You guys have fun. We will do it. We'll miss you. Turks and Caicos. I like that. YouTube is greater than Facebook. Is it too late to apply? We answered that. You can't thumbs up on the iPhone. Activate Kruger. We learned how to do it yesterday. Somebody told us. On YouTube, you have to close the chat. I think you hit the X to close the chat, and then the thumbs up happens. We got 7 more, sweetheart. 7 more. Eric is giving us 100 thumbs up, and that's the gentleman that we're going to see in Nashville as well. Leaping Owl, thumbs up, thumbs up. It's actually Laura K. I'm on my dad's account. Oh, good. Nice, Laura. I'm really happy to have support and confirmation of how we run our property. Thanks. Absolutely, Paul. You just bought your first property, learning so much from me. Yes, 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 yes. Let's see here. You guys inspired me to make my first Airbnb. Love your YouTube. Thank you so much. Awesome. I really appreciate that. Got to get lunch. Looks like Wyoming is drivable from Salt Lake City. Yeah. How many hours is it? Salt Lake City.
5.
5 hours. That's nothing. Hardick is checking into the link right now. See, that's action for you, friends. Do you get to meet Erika with a K in Nashville? You going to meet Whitney in Nashville or not?
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
Really?
Looking forward to it.
You're going to be there?
I think so.
Oh, you're going to show up?
Yeah.
Okay, how about 100%. Dress up? 100%?
Yeah.
Dress up and everything?
Yeah, I'm probably going to buy something new.
Yes, 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 yes. No, actually, Erika is instrumental in Nashville, not only in, helping me be at my peak performance and prime and ready and excited and enthusiastic and all those amazing qualities that really help people grow and stretch. So she helps me do that. But she's also instrumental in planning some of the activities and meals, and she's really taken on a very important role. So muchas gracias, Erika. So yes, honor. Whitney, you will see her. Do I do one-on-one mentor? You'd love to connect. Paul, we're working on figuring out a couple of strategies that can help people at a deeper level, at a more personal growth level, more one-on-one. We're not prepared to announce any of them right now. They're still a work in progress. I think you'll start to see a trend, on my own personal investments and on the things that I do for myself. I'm very intuitive. I'm very fast. I heard a quote recently that really resonated with me, which is that leaders take action immediately. They're very instinctive. They trust their gut. They've learned that they're more right than they're wrong. And when they are wrong, they learn from that and they fix it really quickly. And so leaders take action really quickly. When it comes to STRU, I take a lot of action. Specifically, Hardick takes a lot of action. We create a lot of tools. We have so many things in the pipeline, but then I don't release them. I sort of hold them and we beta test them and we release them to a few people and we announce a few things. But there's about 20 things in the pipeline that are approved, beta tested, ready to go, ready to launch, ready to release, ready to announce, and all of this stuff. But as of right now, marketing really isn't our strength or our core or really what I'm focused on. I'm focusing and focused on growing you and developing you and giving you tools, methodologies, frameworks, knowledge. In fact, I was talking earlier today with Tim, who's on my team, and he asked me, he said, what is that statement that you always say? And he got it pretty right, but it was a little bit off. And I said, what I always talk about is risk-adjusted returns. And he said, well, what does that mean exactly? What does a risk-adjusted return mean? And I said, for me, the way I like to think about it is for every unit of risk that I'm deploying, how much is the return that I get on that? Sorry, guys. What is the return that I get on that unit of risk? And if I take another unit of risk, what is the incremental return? Because generally, it's a decreasing slope. So you can't keep taking the same level of risk at the same return. Over time, as you put more and more risk on, the returns come down. And that's just sort of the natural cycle. But to me, that's intuitive, and I understand all of that. And we filmed a video earlier today talking about getting into investments before institutional money gets into investments, and then you ride their investment wave, and then when people start buying, that's when I sell, right? So I get in early and I do it intuitively in my gut and I trust myself. But as I release things to you, I want to make sure it's ready for prime time, and I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver. I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver. But the point
I would say that the answer to your question, Paul, is yes.
Is there going to be something? There will be something. There's a lot of people, Paul, like yourself, that want more exposure and more one-on-one time, and I would love to do that because I think that's where you really change lives and move the needle and so on.
And you really enjoy that.
And I love that. And I mean, right now I haven't had a methodology or framework to allow it, so it's really challenging to get on my calendar, but we're about to change that. But the point that I was making about the risk-adjusted returns is the stuff that I think, the way that I think and the way that I've invested and the way that I ran money when I ran a $4.5 billion portfolio, isn't necessarily intuitive to the average person, and I'm just cognizant of that now. I'm becoming more and more cognizant of it. And so one of the things that Tim said to me is, well, can you tell us more about it? And I said, why don't you go ahead and Google Sharpe ratio, Sharpe, S-H-R-A-R-P-E. There's an E at the end, the Sharpe ratio. And so he did, and he said, do you think you could break that down in a video and help us all out? And I said, of course, that makes perfect sense. And so we might start a series. He said maybe on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, and I thought maybe we would just do it on YouTube. Maybe it's once a week where I define in simple terms, easy to understand terms, a complex formula, ideology, theory, things that I've studied, for decades and put into practice, and just use real life examples to try and move you along the spectrum. Some of you may already know this, and it'll be repetitive, and that's good because repetition really breeds like a deep, thorough understanding. And for some of you, it might be brand new. You have no idea what cash on cash return is or discounted cash flow. You have no idea what a Sharpe ratio is. You have no idea what risk adjusted returns mean. But these are the kind of concepts that will take you from where you are today to where you want to go. And if you're investing anything, stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, short-term rentals, anything else, you really need to have a thorough grasp of this, what I call financial literacy. Just like if you want to speak Italian, you need to get educated and learn how to conjugate verbs and so on and so forth. You don't just eat pasta, right? You just have to become educated, and the best way to do it is to take a deep dive, right? So the amount of work that you do and the speed of the work, and then you take some time off and then you repeat it, that's how you really learn things. And so it strikes me that I've spent a lot of time on the YouTube channel working through mechanics of marketing and changing how you do your listing and photos and pricing and dynamic pricing and a lot of the things that relate to short-term rentals, assuming that you have a base knowledge of finance. And that perhaps may not be the best assumption. I think we could really take this thing to the next level if everybody had a little bit more of a financial literacy, a framework, a set of definitions, an understanding of the theories that we talk about. I think will light a fire under everyone's growth. So we're going to work on that too. Let's go back to questions here. And what do you guys think? A thumbs up or hearts? If you would like some of that, let me know, because I'm really all about serving you. If you don't want any of that, then don't put a heart on there and we won't do it. I've got plenty of other things to do. There's a couple of thumbs up, so that's good.
Yeah.
What do we got? I'm really happy to have the support, confirmation, just bought my first property. Look at the hearts, they're going up. Just bought my first property, learning so much from you. Thank you. Start small, think big, scale fast. Absolutely. Surprised, but not at how many. I'm not sure, Paul. I'm missing something there. Glad you finally get to see your girlfriend. Ah, yes. Thanks for the inspirations, my friend. My pleasure. Why in Nashville? Hope you will do it in LA too. We're in the process right now of speaking about future offerings at some point in time. Nothing is set in stone. So if you want to grow your business right now, take one of the 3 remaining seats in Nashville. Don't wait for us to come to LA. It could be 3 years from now. But I think we will have such a profound effect on these 36 individuals that I will have no choice but to repeat this in other locations. And I'm not thinking about LA per se, but maybe in Europe or maybe, right. She's thinking LA. But, we'll see. Anyway, my point is only this. If you want to grow and you want to scale and you don't want to waste the next 3 or 6 months or a year or 18 months while I come to your town, take action. Planes are really efficient in this day and age. What's my opinion about using prefabs as Airbnb units? It depends more on the location. I wouldn't be particularly interested in a prefab for the prefab factor in and of itself. But if you can drop a prefab factor, a prefab home somewhere unique that's like world-class and amazing, and that gets you the market quick, then I think it's awesome. I've looked a lot at containers. When I started doing the Outer Banks project, I was looking at containers. You're on your own account now. There you go. She's gorgeous, laughs when appropriate, doesn't interrupt while you're speaking either. As a fellow female, I'd say she's a keeper.
Oh, thank you.
You've got the YouTube approval. How about Facebook? Anybody think so on Facebook too, or no? Anyway, let's just see. Thanks for the great content. Been up and running for about 3 months with my first STR. Would you ever reach out to guests about additional nights at a greatly discounted rates to fill orphanates. You know, that's an interesting question. I think most guests don't really have that flexibility. I think many people still have, you know, jobs, traditional jobs and responsibilities and kids and things that they have to go to. I don't think it really hurts to try. But I think you might be better off trying something more with a better hit rate. So discount using dynamic pricing for the off dates. And people do extend. Boy, there's all sorts of stuff happening. Christopher Wharton, how are you, my friend? Let's see what's going on here. Thanks for the content. I just hate that I can't take the two of you to the North Grill in September. Aw, that's so sweet. You're from Singapore, but would go to LA more often. That's why I ask. If I ask you to come to Singapore, it might take forever. You know what? Leaping Owl, I would say, I don't know if this is a fair statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think there's a greater chance that I'll be in Singapore before LA. I have a good friend of mine in Singapore, and I love Singapore. I'm going to be in Hong Kong. We and these angels back here, 1, 2, 3, are going to Bali right after Nashville. We finish Nashville. Check this out, friends. We finish Nashville. Charles and I are going to do a wrap-up video, hopefully sharing some stuff with you all. That's on the night of the 7th. The morning of the 8th, first thing in the morning, take no chances. We're on an airplane to New York City. We have a full day scheduled in New York City. I'm taking my angels to dinner on the night of the 7th, and then we board an airplane at 1 in the morning on the 8th. So basically it's like it's Thursday night, late night, Friday morning, early morning. Flying all of us to Bali, where we're going to spend about 2 weeks, and I've got it so set up. You know, I've been really racking my mind to make it spectacular and world class and give all my girls everything that they deserve, and just special treatment and special meals and special tours, and, you know, don't tell them, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Shh. Because they're super cool and really into like Instagram and social media and photos and all this and that. You guys can't tell them though. You got to promise me. I've got a professional photographer with a hair and makeup artist coming to one of our villas, and then we're moving to a different place that has these crazy tree houses in the river off of Ubud. That's our last night. I have the photographer coming back, and we're going to take family photos, and they're going to take one-on-one photos, and they're going to have their Instagram channel lit up, and it's going to be off the hook. And instead of them worrying about taking photos and that's all they're doing, we're just going to be relaxing and have a professional photographer like photograph us all, which is going to like really change the game. I think the quality of the photos are going to be better. I think our experience is going to be better. It's going to be memorable forever. And this is what life is all about, is, you know, it's not a lot of money. It just takes a little bit of thought and effort and planning. And I've reached out to the right people. I've arranged it. It's calendared. It's set up. I've got the hair and makeup. Now, I don't even know if they'll use it. It's just at their disposal. And when we land, yeah, she'll use it. When we land, we're fortunate. We're sitting at the front of the plane. When we land, it's a very long trip. I've got 2 masseuses on staff ready and waiting when we arrive. I've got the chef ready and waiting, so we don't have to leave. If we choose to leave, it doesn't matter. Then they'll just stay there and they'll wait for us, and we'll go do our stuff. But the point is, this is the kind of stuff that really lights a fire under me. This is my why. This is what I do. Everything that I do is all to make their life happy and fulfilled, and stretch and grow and try new things and see new everything. So anyway, I don't know exactly how we got talking about Bali, but if there's one guy who's fired up and lit up, and I'm just, you know, I'm going to go and deliver in Nashville and then get on the airplane and just unwind with Erika and my angels back there, and we're just going to have a time of the life. And then when we return, school basically starts for them the following week. So we're going to help them get set up at their boarding school and books and move in and all of that stuff. And Eric and I are kind of on the fence where we go next. We will either go to the Outer Banks if that's what's needed, you know, for that project at that point in time, or we may be closing on the place down in Nosara in Costa Rica. So we may bounce down to Costa Rica and finish on. We've got a 14-bedroom boutique hotel. The contract's on my desk. I'm just about to sign it. And we also have a single family home, which will be a short-term rental when we're not staying there in residence. So a lot of amazing things. And like, that's the kind of life that I'm leading right now, where I'm in Jackson Hole, which is where many people come to vacation. This is my hometown, our hometown. This is where we met. And then from here,
At the airport.
at the airport. Listen, friends,
Hang out at the airport.
you won't believe this. You won't believe this, but it's God's honest truth. She picked me up
He loves to say that.
because it's truthful, you know? I mean, she'd like to tell you something else, but okay, just for the record. I was at the airport, you were at the airport. Did you pick me up or not?
I mean,
There it. Friends, that's the way it is. Anyway, so the point is, there's just an incredible amount of wonderful things happening in the next few months, the next few years, and just feeling really grateful and honored. And the point of this YouTube Live and Facebook Live is just, I am blown away, absolutely blown away by the quality of the audience, right? I have no way of knowing. I see likes and I see comments and I see names and I see thumbs up and stuff like that. And those aren't really the right metrics for me. I'd rather have one like, one thumbs up from the right person who's going to take action and change their lives and listen and learn and move forward and take some risks than 1,000 of the wrong likes, right? It's just, likes is the wrong measure. And so when we announced the scholarship and we received these 36 applicants that had taken, in some cases, literally hours to complete this exercise. It was only 4 questions. And I will say the following. I like the questions. You know, I spent a lot of time asking the right question to uncover the right motivation, and I'm just blown away by how seriously people took it, how much time and energy they took, and how challenging it will be to pick the winner. In the meantime, I just want to give a quick update. Hard, right? 18 thumbs up now on YouTube. So we're getting there. All right, let me just see what else is going on here. We've got so many people. Everyone's paying attention tonight. Friends, I said hello to Chris. We got Paul in San Diego, Wyoming. I don't know these concepts. May already be doing these things. Seek clarity. Alan, you're going to be in the right spot in Nashville. We will be drilling down. You're awesome. You're an action taker. Grew to 6 in 1 year. Sharp ratio. Repetition breeds perfection. Absolutely,
Nice.
my friend. That's what we're talking about. We got, hello, Ann. Hello, Robert. Paul's great advice. Jeff, thanks for all the time you put into helping us. It's rare to find people out there these days willing to spend this much time helping others. Thanks again. You know, it's a very interesting thing, and I want to give a little bit of credit to Tony Robbins. He helps us drill down on our why. Even, you know, I spend a lot of time talking about why, and I've been doing it for years, and I'll continue to do it, because if you don't know your why, then you're just spinning your wheels. But once you accomplish a certain level of satisfaction in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever your why may be, there's a few higher orders of why that are universal, more difficult to achieve, but can also be far more rewarding than other levels of why. And those two, they resonate with me very deeply, and I didn't have the language to put them into context before Tony. So those two deeper levels of meaning of whys are contribution, helping others, right? It could be through charity, it could be through education, it could be through volunteering, it doesn't really matter, but the satisfaction that a human receives from helping others is far greater than any personal thing you could give me. I mean, the gift of 36 applications, I'm sorry, but literally, that's what it does to me. So I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's powerful. So that's far better than like a flashy car. That's far better than a nice suit or a nice watch for me. So contribution is a really important why for me. The other second higher order of meaning and significance, or why, is growth. Growing oneself, growing others. And so, Paul, to your point, yes, it is a lot of time. In fact, this is probably more time than I spend on any of my other businesses or any of my other activities. I spend a lot more time and energy thinking about what to teach and how to teach. I'm spending a lot of time and money learning how to teach better and improve myself to help you even more. And it's not because I want to improve myself as much as it is that I want to improve you. So I'm putting money into this and time and energy, and we're only getting started. I literally feel, I mean, Nashville is day one, right? It's the first 36 people that I will have met in person and taught in person based on a curriculum for 2 days. And we're just getting started. So the best is yet to come, friends. So thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that. And I apologize for that little emotional moment. But
I don't. It was beautiful.
oh, thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Let's see, we got DC here. Oh, I waved. I don't know what that means, but I waved. Steve, you're about to switch over to YouTube where all the action is. Look, actually, it's interesting. We have 25 people live on YouTube right now. We have 22 people on Facebook, so YouTube is still better. So fun. They will love it. What a great memory. Yeah, they are going to absolutely love it. Richard, Dimitri, you're listening to me and your heart fills up with joy. It's so cool that you're surprising your kids like that. Friends, this gentleman right there applied for the scholarship and wrote an absolutely amazing application. And Dimitri, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your drive. I appreciate your story. I appreciate everything about you, friend. Just know that from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Better drink some tea. Let's see here. Miguel, much love from Jacksonville. Otis likes you, Erika.
Thanks, Otis.
This is the first time Jody's seen us. Greetings from Beijing. Amazing. What is this all about? What's up from SoCal? Jody, Alan, you are welcome. You are so cool. Thank you, Penny. All right, now we're going over here. We got so many comments. It's amazing. Friends. Okay. We've got good job, Erika. If y'all would ever like to stay in the Blue Ridge Mountains at a great luxe cabin on me, of course. Oh, that's so sweet, Laura. I really appreciate it. Ace, how are you? Shut off the phone as much as possible. Yeah. You know, if you guys have ever been to Bali, you take a lot of...
Oh, look, that's Paul.
That's Paul right there.
He did switch over.
Oh, he did? Paul did switch over. You just looked up Bali, gorgeous. Yeah, Bali is amazing. It's unbelievable. I've been there a few times. I was there a couple of years ago. Really helped find myself. I was going through a period of transition, recently separated after a long marriage and 3 wonderful kids and so on. And it's a long story. We don't really need to get into it. But I did do something really intelligent, which was I gave myself plenty of time and space. And I said, I'm in no rush to figure this out. I don't need a career. I don't need to rush into the next thing or the next relationship or the next anything. I just need to go and breathe and take a moment and give myself that wiggle room. And so I traveled for 55 days. I met Hardik in India. That was stop 1, which was amazing. I met Hardik and Raj and the whole team, and it was just, thank you, Hardik. He showed me around. We had the best time. Yeah, there's the heart.
Hardik is the best.
I mean, it was amazing. So we had the best time in India, and then from India I went to Bali, and then after Bali I toured around with my kids. We did an 11-day hike in the Tour de Mont Blanc, which is 3 countries, France, Italy, and Switzerland. And my poor girls, they were aged 12, and 14. I made them carry their pack, and we stayed in huts, and we didn't shower every time, and sometimes the showers were cold, and it was really just an exercise through this transition we were going through to prove to them just how strong and capable they were, right? To just show them that, even though life was changing and things were different, that they were remarkable, young, strong, beautiful women filled with intelligence and power. And, I don't know that they saw it that way. I think they felt a lot of pain, but these memories are forever, right? And now they know definitively that they can be challenged and they can rise above it. It's kind of like the challenge I just did when I went rope climbing. Sometimes you have to get way out of your comfort zone to really grow. Otherwise, you become complacent and you keep doing the same thing and you think the same rate of growth, the same trajectory is good. So if you think about it, most of us, I'm going to try and make a curve. It's not a very good curve. But most of us, we'll start down low and we get pretty happy if we rise up the curve. So if we start here, we're really happy if we get there. And that's pretty cool. But you know what's even cooler is a parallel shift, a new curve at a new higher place, right? So how about we just jump from this curve to this one, start down here and go up there. And in order to do those kind of shifts, you really need to surround yourself with the right people, the right mentors, the right experts, take risks, calculated risks, because you'll never get there on your own. It just doesn't happen. You don't just shift to a higher level. Otherwise, everybody would do it. All right, let's see what's going on here. I just need to warn some of you, this is a recurring theme. My iPhone, which is on Facebook, I think is down to about 10%. So if we get disconnected, c'est la vie. All right, look at all these comments. Arlen is cracking up. Haha, pick up at the airport, hilarious. It's true, friends. It's so true. I mean, look.
Totally okay if you don't believe it.
You'd like that, but the fact of the matter is this. Sometimes you just have to believe. Sometimes you just have to trust. Sometimes you just have to say that although I'm really happy where I currently am, I know that there could be better things and better opportunities. And in just that open-mindedness, you can do something that's called manifesting your own reality. You can will things into fruition, things that weren't possible before. It can happen from physicality, just adrenaline, where moms can lift cars to save their kids, right? Or it could be something like this in a relationship. Erika hadn't been on a date in years. Now, believe you me, she was asked on two. In 2 guys approached her in 3 years here in Jackson, where there's 8 men for every female. She was asked out twice, and on both those occasions, she just said no.
Their hair wasn't long enough.
Right, the hair wasn't long enough. They weren't YouTubers. But no, so the fact of the matter is, she was not looking for a relationship, and neither was I. I was in a relationship and with a lovely person, but a long-distance relationship, and I think that had come to its natural end. But I wasn't thinking about doing anything, and she wasn't thinking about doing anything, and yet we were both open-minded, and we met, and then interestingly, I left Jackson Hole 24 or 48 hours later for 4 months. I was repositioning to the East Coast, and that didn't quite happen. I mean, I did kind of reposition, but we stayed in contact on the phone. We got to know each other, and in a really interesting
27 hours.
27-hour phone call on the drive back to New York, got to know each other as people first before any romantic engagement, and that really helped. I think it's really important, and I love that story, right? It would have been really easy to have hooked up and been, what I think most people would anticipate, but we did it the opposite way. We took the long road, right? We got to know each other first, and that was really helpful, and I think that's why we're so close. I mean, we're practically inseparable now for the last 5 months, so we've traveled everywhere. She's been with me in Australia. She learned to scuba dive to go to the Great Barrier Reef with me. She wasn't on any of the cameras or anything, but she was there with me. And then from there we went to, where? Costa Rica? No, with Outer Banks, Costa Rica. Where else?
Yeah.
Non-stop, friends.
Non-stop.
Preach. All right. See, Leaping Owl believes me now. Everyone believes me. Yeah. Aloha from Honolulu, Hawaii. My friend, KU1IA. We are going to be in Maui in October. Day 1 is going to be for the next 30 years. Exactly, my friend. You're so beautiful and sincere. Love you, man. You've helped me so much. So I want you all to come stay with me at the best cabin. Oh, you're so sweet, Laura. I would love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for your content you produce. We can tell you really care about the smaller and up-and-coming hosts. Really appreciate it. Tony, I just want each and every one of you to succeed. And success looks different for each and every one of us. It made me, could you make that stop beeping? Just open that door. Thank you so much. Success looks different for every person. We all have different goals, different ambitions. But I just know that I can help you achieve your level of success. I just know I can fill you with content, I can fill you with education, I can fill you with motivation, I can teach you from my lessons, right? I mean, that's a lot of the storytelling that I do are things that have happened to me and how I've responded and what I've done. And even here, just talking about my why with my kids and saying I hired a professional photographer. If you're going on a family vacation, the amount of money that you're going to spend, it could be $1,000, it could be $3,000. I don't know how much you spend. It could be more than that. But for $200, hire a professional photographer and have the best photos ever, right? Like much better than your iPhone on a thing. And like, it's just easy. So if you pick that little tip up, it's not going to change your life one way or the other, but it's going to make memories, right? And that's what we all live for. Right now, luxury is all about experience. What you do and who you do it with trumps luxury good items. And that's why Airbnb and short-term rentals have such a huge opportunity if you do them correctly. And I've said many times, and I'll continue to say, and the people in Nashville are going to hear in detail exactly what I mean by this, but The days of plain vanilla generic 4 white walls and a box in a condo building or whatever, that isn't going to cut it anymore. Doesn't mean you don't have a business. Like multifamily has thousands of those in a building. They still have a business, but that rate of return is like single digits. If we're trying to grow ourselves and we're trying to stretch and we're really wanting cash engines, we need double digits. We need mid-teens. We even need some 20% opportunities, maybe even some 30% opportunities. And if you start to compound in the mid-teens or in the low 20s and you're young, you have the gift of being young and being able to do this like now, you're going to be a multimillionaire. You're going to be worth $10 million, $20 million. Far more money than you could possibly ever believe. And I know it doesn't sound credible right now, and maybe you're just getting started and you've got one short-term rental. Up, there goes the Facebook. YouTube, you win. Erika's phone. If somebody could go on the Facebook and just tell them to come over here, we'll continue this over here for a little bit longer. So if somebody could pop into the Facebook group, Short-Term Rental University Facebook group, and just post a comment here that they should come over to YouTube. But otherwise, I think they'll figure it out. They know we were simulcasting. But in any event, the thing that you may not realize is how important it is to save, and how important it is to know what your rate of return is, and how important it is to diversify, and how to have things that are counter-cyclical, and to create a portfolio approach towards these investing, and then let it run, let it ride for decades. Your life will never be the same. I'll tell Facebook, thank you so much. Let's see, your story is really sweet. Happy for you guys. Thank you, thank you. You finally found your soulmate. You know, I think you're right. It'd be truly my pleasure. Laura, you're so kind. Eric, thank you for telling Facebook. So anyway, a lot of amazing things happening. Do you want to come join us over here? I mean, she went and made the buzzer silent, which was really cool, and I appreciate it. Will Airbnb make it to space? You know, that would be a great listing right now. Right. I don't know enough about space, but I can tell you some of the most intelligent people, the people that I really respect from an entrepreneurial perspective, are putting tons of time and money into it, right? You've got Bezos, you've got Richard Branson, you've got Elon Musk. These are the top entrepreneurs in the world, possibly in the history of the world, and they're all betting huge on intergalactic travel and opportunities. So it seems to me, even though I know nothing about it, that it's likely. So let's see, what else do we have here? Did it freeze for others? So Laura, I think Facebook died, that my phone, you know, my battery's always low. I don't know what's wrong with my phones. Every phone I buy...
It's because he's always on
No, that's not true. I keep getting the defective telephones. Like my batteries just don't last nearly as long as anyone else's. And I don't know why. There's another fact. Listen, friends, as you get to know me a little bit better, let me share 2 facts with you, and these are really important. These might be trivia questions at some point. The first fact is, I get the phone that has the defective battery almost always. In fact, we'll just call it always. My battery just never lasts as long as anyone else's. And that's very similar to point number 2, which is also a fact. I love ice cream, and I always get the smallest cone. I don't understand how that happens either. Like my kids get these massive cones, and Erika gets this massive cone, and then like I get the exact same order, and mine's like tiny. I don't get it. It's conspiracy theory. That's all the way.
Totally.
That's the only way I can see it.
Totally.
All right. What else? Sketchy sound and freezing. Facebook ended. Is the sketchy sound and freezing on YouTube or on Airbnb or on Facebook? Because Facebook ended because my battery died. I gave you guys fair warning. You and Airbnb Automated seem to be taking the same expansion path, but he's going for quick profits using rent while you're building up wealth. What's your thoughts on renting? So here are my thoughts on renting and on taking the fast path and so on and so forth. How do I say this? I would say the following. Anything worth pursuing is challenging. Anything worth pursuing takes time. Anything with any real meaning requires tons of energy and effort and resilience, hard work, dedication, perseverance. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it and it would be really easy and the opportunity wouldn't exist anymore. So I don't know anybody who gets rich quick and stays rich. whether you win the lottery, whether you're a sports star, whether you're a celebrity in movies, the people that take that get rich quick thing and get, maybe lucky, have a real challenge doing that for an extended period of time. Contrast that with people who take the path of most resistance and the hardest work and the longest journey and really invest and double down and learn to master things and forego immediate gratification and reinvest and save and become disciplined. And discipline could be in your mind, it could be in your body, the people that go to the gym all the time, right? So let's use, the gym's a great example. The people who do a lose weight quick diet, lose 30 pounds in 30 days, do a fast, drink this, yeah, they might lose 30 pounds, but go visit them again in a year. Contrast that with somebody who goes to the gym 5 days a week for a year and go visit them in a year. So I'm not going to sit here and say that you can't get rich quickly or that one person is right and one person is wrong. There's different approaches to everything. But I'm telling you, for me, for my path, for my journey, I want to do the hard work. I want to test myself. I want to be early to the opportunity set. And when everyone else finds the opportunity set, then I'm selling to them and I'm on to the next opportunity set. So I think the following about renting. I think there's a lot more risk in it than people think. I think that you need to do it in a legal location with your landlord's approval or else you don't have a business. I think it is much more income oriented than it is wealth oriented. So if you're seeking a job, it's a great thing to do for income. But if you're looking to create long-term wealth that allows you to do the things that you want to do on your time frame for however long you want that to be, you need wealth, because income requires a trade-off. You're trading your time for money. Nothing wrong with that. However, most people want more and more money and they don't have more and more time. So you get to a place and a point where there's a conflict. And living in New York City and working in the hedge fund world and working in some of the best institutions in the world, I can tell you that often people find that they're not happy. They've just worked their entire life. Life has passed them by and they're unable to do some of the things that they wanted to do, or they can only take a 2-week vacation. I haven't been in an office for 2 weeks in 10 years. So for me, my why is very different and my approach to investing is very different. And my desire for you is not to have a job or to have income. My desire for you is to have financial freedom, to become self-reliant, to be able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them, how often you want to do them, with the people you want to do them, and for the right reasons. And you can do that and still have a career. I'm not telling you to abandon your career, but if I'm teaching you how to just generate income and you're spending all your income, then it's just a perpetual. I made a video, I used the exact same, we made a video today, I talked about the hamster wheel, right? Like the hamster thinks he's running really fast. It's like, he's hustling, oh my gosh, this is fantastic, hustling. Going nowhere, absolutely going nowhere, right? He's going in circles. So there you go. But anyway, for rental income, I think it's a good way to start. If you don't have money to buy, I would encourage you to save every single cent from your rental income and buy, right? At the end of the day, the way that you generate wealth is pretty simple. You develop a balance sheet, and that means you have more assets, and your assets could be stocks, it could be bonds, it could be real estate, they could be short-term rentals, they could be exotic cars, it could be art. Assets, you need assets. And then in addition to assets, on the other side of the balance sheet is liabilities. You want as few liabilities as possible. And if you create a very strong balance sheet, just like any S&P 500 corporation, the stronger the balance sheet, the faster they can grow, the more money they can borrow on better terms and cheaper, and the more profitable they can be. So think of yourself as a business, not as a person with a job, not somebody who makes whatever X thousands of dollars a year. Start to think of yourself as a business, and you want to develop your balance sheet. And if you can do that, you will find that if you do it for a long enough period of time, you will have financial freedom like you never even imagined. So those are my thoughts. Let's see here. Hi, you're joining late. Great to see you both on screen. Nice to see you too, Leslie. I love renting out your property when you have property once because you love passive income. Absolutely. It did it here on YouTube. Wow, sorry about that, Ace. Is the sound still sketchy on YouTube? Let's see. What's going on here, friends? Let's get rid of this thing. I hope the sound isn't sketchy. I've got a microphone, so it should be good. I'm going to try and adjust it a little bit. Is that better, friends? I really want you to hear me because, you're asking great questions. Let's see, just starting an Airbnb soon. You have 3 bedrooms upstairs. Should I rent the entire place or individual rooms or both listings at the same time? Do both listings at the same time. Just make sure that you don't have calendar conflicts. So if somebody rents out the 1 bedroom, make sure you take the 3 bedroom offline. Let's see, yes, that's what you feel right now, getting ready your first STR loss. There's so much information, it's not easy. You start overthinking. Dimitri, breathe, take it easy, don't overthink. It's not that challenging. Don't get in your way. Get out of your own way. Just trust, my friend. Laura loves passive income because of your severe chronic pain. Yeah, I mean, I hear you. Rental arbitrage has power and played right can convert to long-term, stable, massive passive. Okay, High Speed Mom 2012. I wish you all the best. I have nothing wrong with that statement, but I do encourage you to save all of that, what did you say? Power, long-term stable, massive passive. Take that massive passive and save it all. What do I think about charging per guest? I do a minimum. So like most of my places, I think it's 6 people, and then I charge for extra people above that. Michael, what size is your rental? How many bedrooms and baths? 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. Sounds good. Tim Swart, awesome.
Tim!
Sound is perfect on YouTube. Sounds fine on YouTube. It's fine now, thanks. You could unless you typically don't. Sounds good. I made the mistake of buying a property recently in an HOA community. Their long-term rental requirement is 12-month leases. What should I do? Should I sell this one off and do a 1031 exchange? So, my friend, if you are committed to the short-term rental market, then yes, you should sell that one and you should do a 1031 exchange, assuming that you meet all of the minimum criteria so that the 1031 is not challenged and remains legal and viable. But yeah, HOAs are not something that you want to mess around with. I live in I'm in a condo right now. We have an HOA. I sit on the board. We are STR legal, we are STR friendly, and that's why the HOA is fine here. I have a couple of investment properties at the Snake River Sporting Club. Maybe we did a tour on Facebook Live on that. And I'd like to host some of you down there. I want to bring a couple of you down to the Snake River Sporting Club. But there, once again, I'm on the board. The HOA is short-term legal friendly. And then down in the Outer Banks, I bought in a development project. There's an HOA there. And interestingly, my lawyer reviewed it and said the HOA was fine. It wasn't really clear. You could definitely do rentals, but it didn't specifically say that short-term rentals were allowed. It didn't define what the rental guidelines were. It just said that they were allowed. That's not good enough, friends. That's not good enough at all. In fact, we hear about it on Facebook all the time. People that were in an HOA, they allowed it, then they changed their mind, they interpreted the rules. I think Ace and Ashley, Ace, if you're still on, was that you? Does my memory serve me correctly? Were you with a board or an HOA that said it was allowed and then they changed their mind and they tried to interpret it differently and they tried to sneak it by? So in any event, you can't have any of that. So what I ended up doing was I made on the condition, and I bought a lot of land from this development, so I have a very good relationship with the seller. We're friends, partners. We will do all sorts of things together, and that's the way you want to do things. This is really important. I'll come back to the HOA. This is critically important. In every transaction, you must represent yourself as a partner of your person sitting across the table. If you really want to grow and you really want to develop yourself and you really want to develop relationships, every deal must be a win-win. It's not adversarial. It's not like you picked the seller off or you got $5,000 more. If you both win at that table, you will do more deals together. You will see more opportunities. They'll bring you opportunities. Everybody that I interface with, brokers, people buying from me, people selling from me, people that service my properties, my maids, everybody. It's all about mutual respect, and I want to make sure that they're winning. Because if they're winning, guess what happens? It pays it back to me, and in the long run, I win. So I might leave a little bit of money on the table on a particular transaction, but that's pennies. I'm going after big dollars in terms of long term. And so the relationships that I have with the sellers of this land is such that, going back to the HOA now, I said as a condition of me buying all of this, I need the legal language surrounding short-term rentals to be clearly defined. And he said, okay, Richard, why don't you write it? So I had my lawyer write it, gave it to him, he reviewed it, and now that's law. So these are the kind of things that you need to do. You need to be proactive. And if you're in the wrong HOA and it's not allowed, or they're limiting you, or they're redefining things, move on, my friend. Move on. Life is too short. Let's see here. Wow, we've got a lot of comments here. What's an HOA? Homeowners Association. How do I feel about smart home gear now that things have changed in 2019? What are you using in your property? Great question. In my property here, I have an August lock, which is really cool. I can let, maids in or service people or anything. Erika has her own pass, so like it's really helpful. I haven't connected it to Airbnb yet because I haven't Airbnb'd this place, but I'm about to. When we leave here for Nashville, we're going to start to list this place. And then I also have automated lights, which are some Lutron Cassetta lights, and that's really cool. So I turn on all my lights by scenes. I turn off all my lights automatically when I exit, like my phone is gone, and so all the lights go off, and when I come home, all the lights come on automatically. I'm not sure how that's going to play out yet with guests, so I don't have an answer for you as a host. I just have an answer as a user, but I'm basically testing it for myself to make sure I really like it before I introduce it for guests, and then I'll roll it out in other places. But home automation is, I think, a trend of the future. Still a little bit expensive, still a little bit challenging. We just stayed at the Caldera house where all of their lighting was automated. And it's great, right? You just push one button, you get a scene, whether it's movies or dinner or whatever. All my personal homes, the convenience is amazing. It's at a cost. The cost will come down. Let's see here. What are your future concerns with STR? My future concerns with STR is that we get hosts that don't really uphold the standards, and also regulatory. And I think regulatory is cyclical. So the pendulum swings too far. There was no regulation, then there's too much regulation, and it'll come back. So I'm not overly concerned about regulation, but regulation and hosting standards go hand in hand. If every host was as good as all of us, and there's 48 of us on live right now, if every host in the world was as good as the 48 of us watching and listening and participating on this, I don't think there'd be regulatory concerns. The reason there's regulatory concerns is because a lot of people are jabronis and they don't really know what they're doing, and they create a disaster environment, and nobody wants to live next to them, upstairs, downstairs, across the street from them. And so one of the main reasons that I promote this channel and this knowledge and this education is to improve hosting standards across the board, because that helps everybody out in the STR space. So those are some of my concerns. Let's see, what else do we have? Ace Herman, yes, that was us. My HOA is trying to ban, but their proxy was illegal, so we got it tabled until November. Yes, Ace reached out to me personally. I believe I don't know, maybe I helped you, but I know I was there and I had some responses. And I'm glad I remembered it was you. Richest man in Babylon, there you go. Book recommendations. There's a book I'm reading right now. I'm not quite done with it, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit, and it's, what's it called, the 5 a.m. Club? Yeah. I was going to get it, but it's on my Kindle, so I can't. But it's really kind of interesting. Erika and I endeavor to create a...
what do you want to know? Who it's by or what?
Yeah. Erika and I endeavor to create a morning ritual that we adhere to irrespective of where we are. And I think if we can start the day and end the day properly and in our own mindset, the day itself will progress at a much faster, more aligned, more congruent way for us individually and us as a couple. And so I'm learning quite a bit from the 5 a.m. Club right now. Let's see. You're dedicated, you will be selling and buying a property somewhere else. HOAs are a bad idea. Yeah, look, for short-term rentals, they sure are. All right, I have all the honeymoon, anniversary, baby moons, romantic getaway, so I charge for anyone over double occupancy. More guests cause wear and tear, utilities. I charge $25 per person per night. Laura, look, if it's working for you, keep it going. Guys, you have to go to work, graveyard shift. Now it's nearly 12 p.m., need to sleep. See you, Richard and Erika, next time. All right, have a great shift. Hope that helps, Michael. 5 a.m. Club, there you go. My coach is going through this right now. Amazing. Andy, you retracted your message. You definitely took my advice. Thank you. You needed your opinion because I was pretty sure the proxy was illegal. And I thank you for helping me with that one. It's my pleasure, Ace. And by the way, it's not just Ace, it's Ace N. Ashley. I just want to shout out to Ashley. Books that changed me, Influence, The Millionaire Mind. Have you read any of them? Influence and The Millionaire Mind. No, I have not. Do either of you have a real estate license? How do you find your best deals? No, neither one of us have a real estate license. In fact, I thought about getting a real estate license for some of the activities that I'm doing. But in the end, it turned out in North Carolina, sorry for this light on my chin. In North Carolina, it would actually preclude me from doing some of the activities that I was doing. See, here's the thing, friends. A lot of the things that sound obvious and intuitive, like going ahead and getting my real estate license, I was doing it because it seemed to make sense. Then I'd be an active real estate investor, it would help my tax situation. But I always seek counsel. So I spoke to my lawyer, who's fantastic. I love this gentleman. He's been really helpful for me. This is in North Carolina specifically. And he shared with me some very specific North Carolina law that I didn't realize, that by becoming a real estate professional in the state of North Carolina, it would actually limit my abilities to do the kind of development work that I wanted to do, and it would reduce my rights because I'd have certain standards that I'd have to uphold, which are really meant to protect like the public. Even though I was doing it for myself, it would actually encroach and limit my ability to do what it is that I wanted to do. So the lesson there is, as much as something sounds right and you think it's intuitive and it makes some sense, have a go-to expert, mentor, somebody, counsel, somebody that knows more than you, and make sure it makes sense. Let's see. Do either of you have a real estate license? Hey, Richard, glad you're on. Toya, nice to see you. You don't really trust any property in the HOA based on my experience because a board majority can change laws so easily. Look, I don't disagree with you. I think there's a couple of unique situations, like in the state of North Carolina, for instance. It turns out that in the state of North Carolina, an HOA board cannot make any changes to the HOA agreement as drafted unless there's two conditions. The first condition is that it must be unanimous, right? So if there's even one person, and I'm one person, that objects, it will never pass. And now, even if it is in fact unanimous, Eric, check this out, then the change must be universally agreed as an easing. It can't ever get more restrictive. So everyone must agree to the easing, and if those two conditions are met, then an HOA in the state of North Carolina can change their regulations. Now that's just North Carolina, but I found that amazing. I still didn't take comfort in that. I wrote my own HOA law to ensure that my business and my investors' business could succeed. Okay, let's see. Here's a question I could ask. Should I put 2 queen beds in one of my bedrooms, or it's just not necessary? Accommodating 8 people versus 10. And do you have guests sign leases every time? I personally do not have guests sign leases every time. I know a lot of people believe in it. I can tell you this. There's 2 reasons to have a guest sign a lease. The first one is a deterrent. So if that's your point, go ahead and do it. It's, takes some of your time, it takes some of theirs. It's not a good guest experience. I've been asked to sign one in only one of the Airbnbs I've ever stayed in. And I'll tell you, it was a pain in the ass. I mean, I was like docu-signing back and forth. I was driving up there. I had my car. Like, it was just a bad experience for me, and I didn't want to have my guests do that. And then the second reason to have a lease would be if you plan on taking legal action. And my guess is the vast majority of people will never take legal action. Whatever the action is, it doesn't justify it. The cost of the legal doesn't justify it. You may not have enough money for the legal. You may not have the year or 3 to go through the lawsuit. So I'm not sure that having a lease above and beyond what the platform offers is really anything other than a deterrent. And then if it's a deterrent, it's also a pain in the ass. And so you have to cost weigh the benefits. What else? Ace's other half here. There we go. There's Ashley. Lots of laugh. We're both watching you live. We love hearing from you. We've got one phone mirroring the TV and the other one commenting. See? See?
Amazing.
There we go. There you go. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you. So Dimitri, I'm not a big fan of putting 2 queen beds in any bedroom. It really depends on where your location is and your price point is. But generally speaking, I think the people that I attract to my personal properties would like to have privacy in their own bedroom. And if they need a bigger space, then they should go use a bigger space. Again, I know a lot of people that do that, and they try and put in as many beds in the unit, and that makes a lot of sense. depending on the location and the price point. I've seen people even put 2 twin beds, so you have 4 people. If you're attracting young kids, that's great, but for like adults, I don't know that that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know enough to speak intelligently, but I've never done anything like that. I do put 2 twin beds in a room though. Laura, any thoughts on STR in Scottsdale, Arizona? Nope, I don't have any particular thoughts other than it's a nice place and I would look into it some more. Similar in Texas, they're experiencing diminishing power. There you go. You've learned a lot from you. You have 26 listings in Boston, and even though regulations have been tough here, I've learned how to keep it low, and your advice is great. Awesome, Diego. Yeah, I have a friend of mine who does a lot of multifamily, started to transition in Cambridge to short-term rentals. He couldn't believe that he was making, 2.5 to 3x the long-term rental income using short-term rentals. And when he did it, he started to, really embrace it at around the same time that Cambridge actually crack down on it. But that's my whole point about doing remote hosting. If it doesn't work in Boston and you've got the skill set, then just transfer that skill set somewhere where it's perfectly legal and they welcome you and embrace you, right? Like, don't quit, don't stop. You just do it elsewhere. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. And I know it's got some challenges, and I know there's some fear, and I know people, worry about proximity and they need the maids close and so on and so forth. But the reality of it is, burn the boats. Like, there is no plan B. You are a short-term rental entrepreneur. You've got 26 listings. If Boston doesn't allow them, then go find a place where you can do it. And you'll just figure out how to do it in wherever. Somebody said Scottsdale, in the Outer Banks, in wherever. Like, you can do that. It's not that hard. I believe you can do it. All right. So, guys, we've been on now for 71 minutes. It brings me back to my original point that I am just absolutely blown away by you, by the audience, by the members, the fans, the followers, the growth, the entrepreneurs, the people that want to invest in themselves and their future. It's absolutely mind-boggling and spectacular to me that I started this channel 2.5 years ago to just express to people how big an opportunity Airbnb and short-term rentals were, and that I discovered it almost by accident, and that I was going to embrace it and really grow myself and my business and my opportunities with it. And I just started a YouTube channel. Charles was working for me as a blogger on a ground transportation company, typing and writing blogs about transportation. And he and I started to make videos for that business. And I said, why don't you focus more on videos? And we start to make these Airbnb videos. And he suggested YouTube. And so it was all just by accident, just by being out there and trying new things and experimenting and stretching and growing. And I wasn't afraid really of embarrassing myself. And I can tell you this, in my prior life, in the hedge fund world, in my old community in New York City, in my old marriage and all of that, nobody understood this. They thought it was silly. They thought it was a waste of time, and what's the point? And they thought it was all about ego for me, right? About like me and followers, and they didn't comprehend at all that it's all about you. I'm serving you. I said earlier, this light on my chin is kind of driving me nuts. But anyway, it's all about you. It's all about serving you, and it's all about growing you. And my reward is really just seeing the comments and the growth and the applications, and how you've gone from 1 to 26, and how you've gone from 1 and now you've got multiple locations, and how your family's changed, and everything about what you do and how you think has changed. And that's the why. And unfortunately, not too many people really comprehend that. And I think there are a lot of people that do it perhaps for other reasons, or for ego, or for significance is really what that why is called. When you do something for admiration, you do something for prestige, you do something for social status, you do something for ranking, you do something for glory, something for ego, basically to fuel your ego, to feel self-important, that's doing it for significance. And there are probably many people on YouTube and Instagram and other stuff that are doing it for significance. It makes a lot of sense, I get it. But that's not me. That's not why I'm doing this in the least. I'm doing this to help you. So the minute that I stop helping you, right?
Totally.
Right? I mean, like...
100%.
Yeah. Look, just to be really clear, Erika and I have been on this for 75 minutes. We have things that we could be doing to entertain ourselves. We could probably figure out a couple of things that would be fun and enjoyable and healthy and active and just, we'd be having a great time if we weren't on YouTube Live.
Not that this isn't fun.
Well, that's what I was
This
going to
is
say.
fun.
However,
This is fun.
Amazing.
this is actually moving and touching and growing us, right? I mean, this is unbelievable to interface with 42 of you right now in real time all across the world. We had Honolulu, we had, where else did we have? Beijing, we've got Pennsylvania. I mean, people from all over the place learning and growing and stretching. And you too, by the way, you could be watching Netflix and you could be, you know, whatever, like at a bar, you could be watching sports, you could be doing all sorts of things, but instead you elect to watch and listen and learn and ask questions and grow. And guess what? If you keep doing that over a period of time, right? It's not get rich quick. You can't watch this live once and then all of a sudden have a different life. But if I continue to go live every single day and spend an hour of my time and my thoughts and my daily activities and my beliefs and how I'm learning and teaching and growing myself and learning and teaching and growing you, and you do that repeatedly for a week, a month, a year, 5 years, you win. You will be in a different position. I guarantee it. With zero doubt. Do you have any doubt? Zero, friends. Anyway, my point is this. I really appreciate all of you, and that's why I do it. Oh, Arlen is cracking up again. Arlen, I'm so happy that we can provide such amusement for you. Let's see here. Where you live the city. Wow, Diego, do you own arbitrage? You buy properties in Spain from your profit in Boston. That's my goal. You know, buying properties in Spain is probably a pretty good thing. I think their market has been pretty depressed. It may have stabilized a little bit, but for the longest time, buying properties in Spain was an amazing opportunity. So I love that. Where you live the city just sneaked in that non-occupied STRs won't be approved at least 600 feet away from other after many have invested tens of thousands. You know, that's why I say you need to invest today in only places where it's clearly legally accepted. There can be no subject to interpretation. It can't be like, well, it's worked in the past. It has to be clearly written into law where it's allowed. So like this place here in Jackson Hole has done a very thorough study, and they've made the vast majority of the places illegal for short-term rentals, and then they've made a few designated areas completely legal for short-term rentals. Well, when I moved to Jackson Hole about 18 months ago, I only looked at the short-term rental legal zones. I didn't care what was for sale outside that area. I didn't care what the value was. I didn't care about any of it. I didn't even look. So if it wasn't legal in short-term rental space, I didn't even contemplate it. And by the way, my prognostication about the future is that's the way a lot of people are going to start to think. The places that are legal, short-term rentals, like written in, grandfathered, 100% legal, will never change, are far more valuable than the places that are not short-term rental legal. And so what that means is we have a window of opportunity. It's one of the reasons that I'm raising a fund to take advantage of it, because there's a pricing discrepancy, there's a pricing mismatch. I firmly believe that over time, places that are legal short-term rental that generate income will increase in value relative to the places that are long-term value. So in my hedge fund speak, what I would say is I go long short-term rental legal properties, meaning I buy them, and I go short long-term rental only properties, meaning I sell properties that don't allow short-term rentals. And that would be the way that I would leg into a trade. I would go long STR and short LTR, and so I'd have two trades on, both in the same direction for maximum alpha. So if and when I'm proven correct, I make money on the long side and I make money on the short side. That's how it's done, friends. How do you like that? Can somebody give me a thumbs up if that made sense? That made sense. And Arlen, why are you cracking up, my friend? You're not involved in Airbnb,
Wait,
but you
to
tuned
circle
anyway.
back, Robin Sharma is who wrote the 5 a.m. Club.
The 5 a.m. Club by
So
Robin Sharma.
good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Written in a fiction way, so it's really easy reading.
Own your morning, elevate your life.
Own your morning,
What?
elevate your life, friends. Eric, listen, I can't be to blame for you not doing the homework. Netflix, not when you're on live. My wife and dog are watching you too, so count on 43 and a half. I love it.
Hi,
I love
wife
it.
and dog.
I love it. How do we invest in your fund? Is it a minimum amount? You know, my fund isn't up and running yet, so I can't really discuss it. Plus, I wouldn't discuss it here publicly on YouTube. It's not the appropriate place. But my point wasn't so much to ask you to invest or to invite you to invest or anything like that. It's merely to underscore a point that I have firm conviction that there's a discrepancy. It's an arbitrage opportunity is what it actually is, which is to buy places that are short-term legal and exit places that don't offer that. I mean, just think about it for a second. In New York City, let's just use this as an analogy, and it makes perfect sense, and it's like proven. You can Google it. It's 100% proven. Same thing is going to happen right here. So in New York City, there's two types of apartments that people can buy. God, how do we get this light off my face?
I don't even
There's
know.
two types of apartments that you can buy. You can buy a condo, which is basically what most of the rest of the world associates with purchasing an apartment. It's a condominium, and basically you own your unit in that building, and when you buy that unit, as long as you pay the price and you agree with the seller, you can purchase that unit. There's nobody who says you can or you cannot. Either you buy it or you don't buy it. And then within that condo, you can do whatever it is that you want. You own the unit, subject to HOA, right? So there's like a governing principle. Then there's another type of apartment which is far more restrictive. It's called a co-op. It's a cooperative. You actually don't own your space or your unit. What you own shares in is in the cooperative building itself. So when you purchase your unit, you're actually buying a certain number of shares in the building. Now, in order to buy co-ops, you have to be approved by a board. And the board has all the power in the world, and they can veto your application for any reason in the world, including like racial profiling and all these terrible things, or for no reason at all. So it's a very antiquated way of doing it. It's far more restrictive. There's very many wealthy people that will not be approved by a board because either they're too influential, or they're too loud, or they do things that the board doesn't deem as appropriate. And so people that are very famous, for instance, I forget who's the example, but let's just say Madonna. Madonna may well be rejected by a board because they don't want a rock star living in their building. Whereas Madonna could buy any condo that she wants, right? So does that make sense? So given those two examples, friends, I want you to comment. This is now a question for you, right? This is a quiz, question and answer session. Which per square foot do you think a condo is worth more or a co-op is worth more? If you were going to buy an apartment in New York City, would you pay more money for a condo with the less restrictions, or would you pay more money for a co-op with more restrictions? Blow it up, friends. There's 41 of you. I want 41 votes. This is how you learn, right? You should make a cryptocurrency, call it STR coin. Eventually, my friends. All right, so I haven't seen any votes. What do you guys think? Condo. Condo's worth more. We've got Kavina saying condo is worth more. We've got Brandy saying condo is worth more. Leslie saying condo worth more. Sohail saying condo. Laura saying co-op. Okay, anyone else? Any more condos? Any more co-ops? I will stick with legal zones for sure. Even if it's a Niglu, thumbs up. Okay, so condo is worth more. Dimitri. Tubb says he or she doesn't know. Okay, so here's the answer. Condo all day long. Okay, so the question that I asked wasn't which would you prefer to buy. The question was valuation. Which one trades at a premium price per square foot? And without a question, nope, it's not a trick question. It's not a trick question. Okay, so High Speed Mom, Eric, everyone is saying condo except for Laura. The correct answer, and it's unequivocal, and it's black or white, and you can Google it all day long, is condominiums trade at a premium to co-ops. And if you think about it for a second, it makes all the sense in the world, because the freedom and the flexibility to sell to anybody at any time who can afford to buy it is worth a premium versus having to find a buyer that will pass the board, right? That restriction, that onerous restriction, even though it may work just fine for you, makes it a less desirable asset, right? The asset that's free and clear, that you can do anything you want with it, is worth more money than an asset that has restrictions. So let's just fast forward and take a look at the world on a go-forward basis. Would you rather own an asset that has no restrictions against short-term rentals and that you can do anything you want with it and monetize it when you're not there? Or would you prefer to pay more money for one that has far more restrictions? No, right? Now, the world hasn't adopted that train of thought. What I'm expressing to you right now is Richard's hypothesis about what the world looks like on a go-forward basis. But watch, friends, it will happen. It will happen before you know it. It could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, but before, I don't know, pick a date, 2025, you will start to see a discrepancy where places that are short-term rented are going to be worth more. They may not be worth a lot more, but let's say the average price per square foot is $1,000. Maybe this will trade at a 10 or 20% premium, $1,200 a foot. And that's probably still too little. It should be a higher premium. In fact, this guy will probably never buy a property for the rest of my life that's not short-term rented legal. Why? Because I own so many places and I can't be in them all at the same time. And I have this very interesting theory. It kind of goes with the whole crowd lending, crowd sourcing, crowd funding, crowd everything, crowd living, Uber type experience. My premise earlier was about your balance sheet, right? Thinking of yourself as a corporation and having more assets than liabilities and generating wealth from having this very strong balance sheet. Well, on that asset side, what I'm spending a lot of time thinking about is not all assets are created equal, right? And so the assets that I want to have on a go-forward basis are not only assets on that column, but they're also pay for themselves. Most assets you have to pay for outright. I want this art collection. You go buy the art collection, it generates no income. I want to own this real estate, this building, this house, generates no income. Most assets on most balance sheets are not income producing. The short-term rental market right now is such that not only is it income producing, it's cash flow positive, which is almost unheard of. So as I build my balance sheet, the assets that I'm putting in there all must pay for themselves and generate a positive cash flow and be cash engines so that I can buy more assets that also pay for themselves and generate free cash flow. And then you do that again and again and again and again. And I'm a relatively young guy, pretty fit, so I do that for 5 more decades. My kids are going to be happy. We're going to be happy. Everything's going to be great. Anyway, let's see here. Devalues, absolutely. HOAs devalue property values, but business side of my heart says condo. There you go. Oh yeah, you may prefer, Laura, to live in a co-op. That's totally cool. You wouldn't want to place, there's plenty of condos that have doormen. All right, let's see here. That's exactly what it is. Co-ops are very tough to sell. My very first apartment that I purchased in New York City was a co-op. It was on Gramercy Park, which is a very exclusive little area. We had a private key to the park, and back then in the day, it was a lot about significance and so exclusivity, and we had this little park in the middle of New York City, the most exclusive park in the world, and we had a key, and the reality of it is we never went in it, but we had the key. And that was a co-op, and one of the reasons that we bought that place was because of the location, and there were only co-ops around, but also we couldn't afford to pay the premium for a condo, right? It was our very first apartment, so we had no choice but to go through the co-op. And I'll remember, I have a whole bunch of memorable items, things. I still have my board package that I put together. This must have been in, oh my, when was this? 2000, no. This was probably in the early 2000s. And so I still have my board package. It was about this thick, and we had letters of recommendation, and I still have it. So I know what my net worth was back then. So those of you that are doing your homework, when I assign to you to do the personal financial statement and start to track it, like I've been doing this for decades, right? And I just see increase and increase and increase and increase. Again, not get rich quick, but not get rich quick, but get rich with certainty. How about that? All right, I do rent to own agreement, then I do sublease to do VA, then if the property is profitable, I buy it with rent, cash, go into down payment. Awesome, man, Sam. Makes sense. Irrelevant but curious if you buy precious metals. I don't buy precious metals, but I do buy crypto. I believe crypto disrupts precious metals. Keep in mind, you're in Georgia, me in New York City are like night and day. May you ask, Richard, how do you manage your time when so many guests message you? Sometimes it gets tough for me, as right now I'm getting messages and try to be positive always. I outsource that. I don't actually respond to most of my guest messages. Every once in a while I do get called in to do things, but I have a very simple system. Hardik helps me. He's fantastic. I answer every single question once, and then we keep a Google Doc with all of the different questions that have ever been asked for each specific property, and chances are the guests are asking the same questions time and time again. So either we update our listing and include the answer. We've even started to include frequently asked questions in our listing, or if the people keep asking the same question, then we address it. So like we fix whatever the question is, or he just answers it because we have a long list of frequently asked questions and he just cuts and pastes. Boom. Everything scaled, automated. How else could I be on the Great Barrier Reef with her or climbing Mount Moran completely off grid?
Everybody needs a Hardik.
Everybody needs a Hardik. Listen,
Hardik is the best.
Hardik is the best. There's no doubt about that. All right, friends, look, it's got to be...
We've got homework to read.
Yeah, we do. Actually, we don't have homework to read. I've read all the homework.
Right.
The calls kick off tomorrow morning. I'm super excited to get to know all of you that are coming to Nashville on the telephone and then in person, which reminds me, we have 3 seats left. If any of you have been on the fence, if you've been uncertain, if you've been waiting to find out about, I don't know, whatever's going on in your personal life, the time is now. Act quickly. There's 3 seats. We will sell out, and your life will never be the same. You've changed your life. Thank you so much. Oh, Carl, you're so kind. I appreciate it. Are short-term rental incomes eligible for home loan applications? Currently, they are not, but that's changing. I'm working with a couple of banks and in discussions with a couple of lenders and a couple of banks to share with them just how profitable this is. Here's the reality, and this is why it's such a great opportunity. It's so misunderstood, right? So what ends up happening, and I've said this before, what's that noise?
Sorry, it's the kettle.
Oh. So here's why short-term rentals make as much money as they do. And monitor this carefully, because if this changes, then we won't make as much money on a go-forward basis. So the reason that short-term rental hosts make a multiple over long-term renters is, you guys know, vacancy on our balance sheet, right? When I talk about embracing risk, right now you may not realize that as a short-term host, you are embracing risk. But I want you to acknowledge it, and I want you to own it, and I want you to tap yourself on the back, because a lot of people don't embrace risk. So what risk are you embracing? Well, you're foregoing the certainty of a 12-month lease where the check comes in on the first of the month every single month. You're not doing that. You're listing a property, the calendar's blank, you have no idea if it's going to be taken, it's going to be rented 1 night or 10 nights or 30 nights. You have no idea. Right? You've put this marketing together, you're on a platform, you've got these pricing, you've got these photos, but you have no idea. There's no certainty, there's no guarantee. Whereas in the long-term rental market, there is a guarantee. You have a lease, this person's obligated to pay you. Now, when you have that certainty and that obligation, it's kind of like the co-op and condo discussion. For that certainty, there is a trade-off. You will make less money for that certainty. But as the entrepreneur, the short-term rental entrepreneur, for that variability, which is also risk, for that uncertainty, which is also known as risk, for the risk that you are taking, you are being rewarded. It is my belief that today and for the foreseeable future, we are being overly compensated for the amount of risk that we're taking. And the reason is, and this is what I'm speaking to the banks about, it's actually not that risky. There's far more demand than there is supply. And consequently, we're being overcompensated for a fear of risk that's not a reality. Does that make sense? Guys, we're at 28 thumbs up on YouTube. If that makes sense, I want to see the likes go up so that I know that I explain that pretty clearly, because for me, that makes perfect sense, and that's what I monitor, and that's how I know when short-term rentals, it's called the risk premium, right? What is the risk premium that we're being paid for taking on that variability and that uncertainty? And right now, we're being overly compensated relative to the amount of risk in the system. That will change. Once people realize that it's not quite as risky, we will get lower returns. But we're not there yet. All right, so I've got Sohal says that makes sense. You know, I don't really buy long-term rentals. I have a couple of places that I will do long-term rentals on occasionally. But I'm not really into the long-term rental market. All right, Tubbs, that makes sense to Tubbs. Anybody else make sense? Does that make sense, right? And that's the way that I view the world. Everything is about risk-adjusted return, right? I don't make investments that don't have the best risk-adjusted returns. I do make investments that are complementary in the portfolio sense, so my entire portfolio has a better risk-adjusted return. So I will put things in there that have lower returns, that are counter-cyclical, that reduce risk, bring my risk lower and my return higher. That I do all day long. All right, let's see here. Okay, we got thumbs up. Everyone's getting it. All right, beautiful. Guys, I mean, I need to express the following. That concept, by the way, is not that, I mean, it's pretty esoteric. It's pretty easy to understand when you distill it down, and if I give you the right examples, and it makes perfect sense. But that's a pretty esoteric term, risk-adjusted return, risk premium, embracing risk, right? Like probably before this live, none of you thought that you were embracing risk. You've heard me say that before, you didn't know what that really meant, but now in real time, I'm explaining to you how as a short-term rental entrepreneur, you are embracing risk that the long-term rental entrepreneur is unwilling to take. They want that 12-month lease. Anybody who owns multifamily buildings does not comprehend this risk. I was just touring some multifamily apartments with a friend of mine. He's also a Tony Robbins Platinum member. He's got hundreds of units. He's very successful. And I was expressing to him how the short-term rental market is such a tremendous opportunity and how we're being overly compensated for the risk that we're taking and it's not that risky and so on. And his statement to me, very matter-of-factly, was, this is working and it's working really well, so I don't need to take any more risk. Well, with all due respect to my friend, the dinosaurs were kind of working really well until they weren't. And, you know, like it's all great until it's not, right? And so if you just keep doing the exact same thing, you will become extinct. So you need to think about where the future is, and you skate to, like Wayne Gretzky said, you skate to where the puck is going, not to where it was. And so you monitor things. Yeah, so you monitor things about this risk premium, and that's how I know to continue to invest when I'm being unfairly, unduly compensated for the little risk that I'm actually taking, right? And it's kind of, so this all started, I digress, but you got me rolling now. This all started when I was trading options in Chicago on the floor of the Mercantile Exchange and the Board of Trade. So there's a concept in the Black-Scholes model, which is how you price options. And then I went and I did options at the Swiss Bank O'Connor Group, which is the #1 options derivative team in the world, some of the smartest people in the world. So there's this concept of recognized volatility, and volatility is just price volatility. So like how much does something go up and down, right? So a utility, like an electric company, a water company, very little volatility. Their earnings are pretty much known. They've got a certain number of clients. They use a certain amount of electricity. So there's very little volatility in their earnings, and consequently, utility companies have very little volatility in their stock price. Let's contrast that with Bitcoin. Tons of volatility, up 10%, down 10%, up 10%, down 10%. So people that invest in Bitcoin are requiring a greater rate of return than somebody who invests in the utility company, right? That makes sense. But here's the thing about options. Options trade on two variables. One is the recognized or the realized volatility, the actual volatility. How volatile is it? And then there's a second measurement that increases or decreases the value of an option to buy that asset, which is the expected volatility. And so what I'm saying as it relates to short-term rentals and the way that I think when I make investments is I understand what the realized volatility is, and if I'm being compensated properly or excessively for an erroneous expected volatility, then I make that trade, right? Because I know the real volatility is here, but I'm being paid for volatility up here. That discrepancy, that's arbitrage. And as much as possible, I don't like to have what's called naked exposure, just unidirectional, like one direction exposure. I like to have what's known as an arbitrage opportunity where I'm long one thing and I'm short another thing. You've heard me talk about it many times. even if you're just long, you're making a conscious decision against something else. So every single thing that you do is a vote for something and a vote against something. When you go to the supermarket and you buy a frozen pizza, you're voting for the frozen pizza and you're voting against the salad. When you go to the supermarket and you buy the salad, you're voting for the salad and you're voting against the pizza, right? And sometimes you go to the grocery store and you buy a pizza and a salad, and that's cool too. All right, so let's see. What do we have here?
Eric finished his
Hold
homework.
on. Yes, Eric, good work. All right, Laura, okay, you're the man. While learning, multitasking is key. Absolutely. Richard, we need you to write a book because I need to reference everything you say. I need the STR manual. Thank you so much. Dinosaurs, you love the financials. Listen, financials are great. I'm long a lot of Blackstone. I'm long Goldman Sachs. I've been long them forever. I don't want to work for them, but I'll be long them. You know, like that's the other way I think. I don't want to go work on Wall Street. I've done that. I've been there. I used to work for the Blackstone Group. It's a fantastic company, but they demand way too much of my time. They would compensate me very fairly like they did back in the day, but I'm unwilling to sell my time for money, so I won't work for them. But you know what I will do? I will buy their stock. How about that? That's the way I think, friends. Okay, what do we have here? Arlen, when you talk about financials, I realize how little I know and how much you have to learn. Oh, you know what? You know more than you think. But that doesn't mean that we can't learn a lot more. And again, these are theories and...
I feel the same way.
Oh, come on. Look, I've been doing this for a long time. I've had the benefit of some wonderful coaches, mentors, educators, professors. I went to a very great business school. I learned a lot of this stuff, and then I had the privilege to put it into action, you know, with real money. My first job out of business school, I was running $1.1 billion for the founders of the Blackstone Group. It was their proprietary money, and they recruited and hired one person out of all business schools. It came down to me and some other chap from Stanford Business School. The guy didn't have a chance, friends. Boom! So anyway, I went there and I did that for a little while. I learned an awful lot, and there's nothing like investing $1 billion to wake you up and be on point. Until, of course, you run $4.5 billion, and then that'll really wake you up. Arbitrage, STR, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Do I still trade on my own? You know, I'm not that active, but I very often, here's what I do, Eric. I very often, hold on, can you please share this link? Oh, we're trying to share something here. All right, I'm going to share a link. I don't know exactly how to do it, but Tim wants me to put the link for the STRU live event in case any of you want to do this. But what was I saying? $4.5 billion.
Do you still trade?
Oh, do I still trade? You know, Eric, I don't trade that actively, but I do take, I have some long-term holds. I'm really tax conscientious, very tax efficient, so I'm a very big believer in long-term hold. I'm a huge believer in compounded returns. And so for me to deviate from that, it has to be a very special situation, an opportunistic trade. And the way that I tend to trade right now tends to be on earnings disappointments. When a really great company has a bad quarter, I generally buy the dip. I don't know. Seems to have worked really well for me. I would say 98% of the time it works. Your eyes have glazed over and you need to learn more. No. Everybody votes green beans on November. Salad 2020, arbitrage. All right. Richard, do you have a book you could recommend that will blow your mind? Oh boy, beautiful photos of your kids. Thank you. You know what? They're even more beautiful in person and they are more beautiful in spirit. They are incredible souls. My pride and joy. I need to come up with a book. Let's see, what do we have up there? I did this recently. I picked up Mastery, but there's a few books up there. You want to go up there and grab me one? Can you hand me the one right next to the yellow one? I think that's the one I want. We'll see here. What is your take on opportunity zones?
Getting started in road cycling?
No, the blue one. This is a great question. This is a really good, how should you find a good CPA? You know, that's a really hard question and it's really important. Oh, okay. All right.
What's it?
Here's a very good book. I recommend it highly. The Intelligent Investor. This is the Almanac. Benjamin Graham on value investing. And here you can see
Buffett?
By far the best book on investing ever written by Warren Buffett. Now, it's not that easy to read, and it's very deep value bias. Value's not working quite as well as growth in the last couple of decades, and the world is changing, but it's still a really great resource. So I think that that's worth reading about. But here's somebody, Donald has a really great question about opportunity zones. Opportunity zones, because of my tax efficiency, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I'm really drawn to the investment thesis. But here's the thing. I have yet to invest in an opportunity zone or an opportunity zone fund because most of them are centered around tax efficiency. And for me, the investment must stand on its own merit before I care about paying taxes on it. So the tax return benefit is a cherry on top. It must stand alone on its own. And so far, I've yet to see anything that stands on its own. It's all about the tax benefit. And that's kind of like the tail wagging the dog in my life. So I don't really, that doesn't mean I won't invest in them. It just means I have yet to find something. Which philosophy do you love, Eric? I'm just seeing your comment now, but are you talking about like not going to work for the bank and just investing in the stock? My Airbnb is Coachella, lots of weekenders. I added an EV charger for guests and they like it. I'm sure they do like it. I hope you advertise that prominently in your listing. I should grow a beard. My friend, I don't have enough facial hair to grow a beard.
Who said that?
Now Erika's upset. Activate Kruger, you got her. That's a classic. What's a classic, friends? You know, by the time I read your comments, I'm on to like 17 other streams of thought. Are you still looking for books?
This is a really good one.
Oh, that is a very good one. Here's another really good book.
Really good.
The One Thing, right? And what this book basically asks you to do is to think about the one thing that you need to do to change your life or to change your business or to change your relationship or to change whatever it is, but only the one thing. So anyway, the buy low. Yeah, that's what I do a lot. So a recent example, I bought Biogen. They missed earnings. There was some warning about their cancer drug. I don't even know the name of the drug. I was just watching CNBC. Stock was down 10-15%. It hasn't really rebounded yet. I'm in no rush, but Biogen's a great company. Unbelievable pipeline of drugs. They're helping millions of people across the world. And if certain people wanted to exit based on a certain test result, I'll buy that, right? And again, it doesn't mean that I know more about Biogen than anybody else, but I take the other side of the trade. When everyone is selling, I'll buy. When everyone's buying, I sell. It's pretty straightforward. I produce liquidity, right? Like I get compensated for the risk that I take by producing liquidity. Somebody really wants out, I get in. Somebody really wants in, I get out. And you just think about life that way. Everything that I do is a trade for something and against something. Short-term rentals is a vote for the fact that there's no restrictions, the world is changing, it's moving in this direction, and it's a vote against the establishment, right? I'm voting for the disruption. I don't know. All right, friends, we've been together.
Time to go night.
Is it time to go to sleep?
Yeah.
Friends, you think I should say goodnight and hang out with Erika for a little bit? I've enjoyed our time. Okay, but Tim does want us to post the
we'll
link.
post it. Yes.
Okay,
Tim.
I don't know exactly how to do it, but we will figure
We'll
it out.
figure it out.
Tim, if you're still here, could you tell me or text me? You want me to put it as a comment or in the description? Probably the description, right? And I hope some of you found these concepts really interesting and meaningful. Some of you are saying your eyes are glazed over. You realize how much you have to learn. Whatever the words are that you use for yourself, just listen to yourself, right? Like if you are serious and you do in fact want to learn, then learn. Whether you read the book that I just shared with you, Benjamin Graham, you find yourself a coach or a mentor, you enroll in classes, you can go to your community school, it doesn't matter. But if you want to learn, learn. If you think I can be helpful, it would be my honor, my privilege. For some of you that were on earlier, the emotion was real, right? Like I'm not an actor, I'm not trying to win any gravy points here by crying on live YouTube. But the fact that I'm helping you really drives me, really motivates me, motivates us. We spent the day today. Erika's now helping Charles and I. She was behind the camera. We created, I think, 6 or so YouTube videos. No, you did great. You did great. But it was interesting. We're going through some learning about, what I need, what I don't need as I film these YouTube videos. But my point is, the entire day has been in and around short-term rentals, starting last night when we read the 36 unbelievable applications. That's the whole point of this 2 hours ago. I'm blown away, can't believe the quality of the applications. It's going to be very challenging for us to understand and analyze and pick a winner. But we will do so. We hope to have that answer by tomorrow. And then today we spent pretty much the day filming these videos, and then we went live with you for almost 2 hours, and we read the homework assignment, and tomorrow I'm on the phone with, I think, 8 or 10 people, and then the next day another 8 or 10 people coming to Nashville. So you can say that I'm all in, friends. All right, let's see, what do we have here? Arlen, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's very, very good spirits.
Who is Hardik?
Who is Hardik? Hardik is, I would say he's my right-hand man, but that would be cutting him short, because I would also consider him my left-hand man and my right-foot man and my left-foot man, and we have a really great relationship. Like I said earlier about relationships, Hardik has changed my life, right? I owe so much to this individual that I met randomly over the internet on a very small project. I requested somebody who had experience with, I think it might have been Excel back then, on a business many years ago. I was trying to automate that business. I still run this business. It's changed. I've pivoted it. But even back then, this must have been, so we're in 2019. This must have been 2012, something like that. I needed somebody to automate something. I wanted a script written. I wanted to automate the wake up for the chauffeurs so that I didn't have to worry about whether they were awake or not. I wanted a whole system designed, and Hardik responded to the ad, and he said he could do it, and he did a great job. And so I gave him a next task and the next task and the next task. And now he and I are, joined at the hip. I owe everything to him. He's an unbelievable individual. I flew to India to meet him, and I've met his team, and he's just a fantastic person. But here's the way that works. This mind, as you might be gathering, has a million things going on perpetually. And most of them are forward thinking and automated, right? I don't want to do things that are that require me. I want to think about it, and then I want it built. And that's what Hardik does. So I'll send to him the most random, crazy stuff, and that's why we have so many
At all hours.
Yeah.
At all hours. Like, Hardik doesn't sleep. He responds at all hours and with the most love and respect. I haven't met him. I can't wait. Like, when I think of Hardik, I just think love.
Because he is.
He is.
So the point is, this mind goes nuts thinking about all sorts of stuff, and then I just assign it to him, and he does all the development, all the coding, figures out all the stack, figures out how it all plays nicely. He's instrumental in everything that I do in every one of my businesses, which is now several, and he's just pivoted with me, and he doesn't understand where we're going, right? Because he doesn't have that visibility, but he and I
That's not true. He celebrated the other day. Hardik celebrated the other day that you were living your vision.
That's
you
true.
guys talked, I guess, a couple of years ago about like where you saw this going or what you wanted to
It's true.
accomplish.
It's
and
true.
he said, he was like, Richard, oh my gosh, you're doing it. We're doing it. This is what we talked about. Like, this is...
Right. On a long-term basis, I forecast that this would be where we would be, and we're in fact doing exactly what I thought we would be doing. But on a daily basis, he has no idea what assignment's going to come his way or
No
what.
one does.
Right. No one does. But he's amazing, and he's fantastic. And he basically, what I would say is, he puts to reality my dreams. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, I've got to go to bed here, friends. All right, hold on a second. Please put the link in the description. We will do that shortly. Thanks for the book recommendations. You are helpful. It's my pleasure. You really enjoyed it, Richard. Thanks so much. Nighty night, Leslie. We will put the link in the description. Richard, you are a sweetheart who sees the good in everyone. It's a wonderful quality. Thank you so much. Thank you for emailing the homework. Eric, go ahead and sign up on a link. If none of those slots work for you, just let me know. I'll obviously accommodate you. Yes, go hang out with Erika. You're smiling bigger these days, brother. Why wouldn't I? Life is grand. Thanks, Richard. You really helped us get up and running with your rental. It's my pleasure. Do I use any channel manager? I do not currently. Last question, what software do you use for automation? I use Smart B&B. I've tried Smart B&B, and I found it too restrictive in the sense that there wasn't smart responses. So like all the automated responses were automated in every single scenario, and I always seem to find that exception where that response wasn't the correct one. So basically, I don't use any automated software. Hardik and I have developed different systems that we use, and it's all automated on our end, but it's all proprietary right now. And in fact, we might open up some of these systems in the future. I don't know. It's got a lot of things going on around education, and I'm really enjoying it. So we all need a Hardik in our lives. Look, you can have a Hardik in your lives if you change your mentality and your mindset about virtual assistants or hiring people or treating people with respect or relationship-based relationships. Think about that for a second. How about having a relationship-based relationship as opposed to an employee or a virtual assistant or somebody who's a service provider, or having a seller and a buyer and you're on opposite sides of the table? How about having a relationship with every relationship? It works really well for me. So if you think I got lucky and I have a Hardik and I have an Erika and I've got this person that works for me and I've had relationships with Charles for years, and when I hire people, first thing I do is I invest in their growth, right? I challenge them, I grow them, I educate them, I respect them, I pay them, I give them more challenges and growth opportunities than they've ever seen in their entire life. And that's really hard to find. And it's really hard to leave. And it becomes more important than money, believe it or not. So start to think about your relationships from a relationship perspective as opposed to an employment perspective, what you can get for them, how little you can pay them. Money's not the big thing. Trust me, you grow people, you educate people, you challenge people, you promote people, you celebrate people, you reward people. They're not going anywhere. Now your challenge is to get the right people, right? Because if you're doing all that with the wrong people, it's not going to go anywhere. So develop your intuition about who's a really good person, who deserves your time, who deserves your education, who deserves to be part of your inner group, your inner circle. And if you develop those skills and then you challenge them and grow them and reward them and promote them and celebrate them, you're set for life. The most expensive thing you can do is have turnover in any organization or in any relationship. It really takes you from running to standing still and stopping. So spend time and energy, find the right people, and then don't let them go. Right?
Absolutely.
Is that what we do? Oh, look at you. Absolutely. Anyway, let me see. One more question. Yes, Andy, 3 seats left. Still room at your meetup. Lots of laughs. You wish you found a Hardik. You can find a Hardik. All right, friends. 3 seats left. I'm posting the link. I've got 10 phone calls tomorrow, another 10 the next day. We will announce a scholarship winner. I am so excited to meet all of you. It's going to be fun. How much fun are we going to have in Nashville?
And it's going to be so yummy. Promise.
Listen, that's really compelling. It's going to be so yummy. It's, you know what?
You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to be rewarded with yumminess.
And you're going to have a great time. You are going to meet
so
unbelievable people like the people that are on this chat, but instead of it being on a chat and you don't have any idea who you are, you're going to have that relationship where you look each other in the eye and you shake hands and you get to know one another. Friendships are going to be made here. Lifelong investment opportunities are going to be created. And that's what motivates me, right? And just to be really clear, the price point is high because we have limited seats, but at the end of the day, I'm reinvesting every single cent. I personally am not making anything from this.
True story.
Right?
True
So
story.
all the service providers, all the marketing people, all the restaurants, everybody else is getting paid in full. Richard, I'm in essence donating my time because I believe in your growth. So I understand it's a lot of money, and if you don't have it, that's fine. Somebody's going to win the scholarship. If you do have the money and you think that this is a worthwhile use of your time, don't worry about me and my reward, because that's not why I'm doing it, so you shouldn't worry about it either. But what I'm asking you to do is to invest in yourself. And if I gave you the content for free, that's not an investment in yourself. You wouldn't take it seriously. The
People have already made back since they bought their ticket. People have already made back with his instruction what they paid for their ticket.
Well, and we haven't even had the one-on-one calls
Right.
yet. But I have had
Right.
2 comments. Eric's on the live right now, and he sent a note in the Facebook group for the live event attendees only that based on my dynamic pricing recommendation, he's already paid back the price of his ticket, right? So he's coming to Nashville, he's having the one-on-one, and I'm taking a look at his financials, and we're having a discussion tomorrow and then 2 days in Nashville, and he's already in the money. He hasn't even he's not even on the airplane yet. And then we had another very sweet comment from somebody who's attending who said that even just the homework assignment was something that they had been meaning to do for a long time. They hadn't gotten around to do it. Their financial advisor had given them some basic stuff. But long story short, she finally felt empowered and no longer scared by her financial. She really understood her financial situation. She's now operating from a position of strength and knowledge as opposed to fear and uncertainty. And she feels like she's already made back her investment in herself by buying this ticket. And these are just amazing concepts to me because we haven't even begun, right? Like, we're not Nashville, friends. Nashville's going to be insanity. But nonetheless, we'll put the link in there. 3 lucky people, the latecomers, but there's still seats. The latecomers will be in Nashville. I can't wait to see you. You'll have to hurry up and do your homework. You will have to schedule the phone call with me quickly, but we'll get it done. Of that, there's no doubt. And stay tuned for the announcement of the applicant. And just to share with you, because I'm sure some of you got here a little bit late. No, this is the homework. Where's the... Yeah.
See, you better be careful. I'm gonna burst into song.
So I just want to share with you how seriously people took these applications. This is one application. 4 questions, friends. 4 questions. Look how much time and energy this individual put into their response. And it just goes on and on.
Right.
I mean, here's another application. 1 application, 4 questions. It's just on and on. And I've read every single word of every single one of these, and it's moved me, it's excited me, it's grown me, it's unbelievable, and I thank you tremendously.
Inspired.
If I could award 36 scholarships, I would. I mean, that's how good these are and how unbelievable your fellow peers, entrepreneurs, short-term rental hosts are. I mean, it's amazing. All right, friends. If I don't get off now, I may never get off. Look, Erika just keeps going and going and going. So I've read every single one of these applications word for word. Erika's read every single one of these applications word for word. We are going to continue to read them before we decide. And I just honor and thank, and I'm so grateful for the people that have taken the time and energy to invest in themselves, right? It's not an investment in me, it's an investment in themselves. They're standing up for themselves. They're saying, I want help, I need help, I know the future's brighter, and with your assistance, I can get there. And that's just unbelievable. Good night, y'all. I so wish I could be at the seminar. Will it be recorded for those who can't go? By the way, I hope you'll seriously take me up. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. I would love to. When are you going to have another meeting like tomorrow? Where will you be in the future? When? No real plans right now. We're going to learn as much as we can from the 36 participants, see how they feel after the event, see how they feel a month after the event, check in with them, make sure that they're continuing growing. The support doesn't stop at the event. These are lifelong friends. These are lifelong relationships. When you heard me say earlier, treat every transaction not as a transaction, treat every relationship as a relationship. I'm going to have 36 new relationships. These people will succeed. I will do everything in my power to ensure that they succeed. I will answer questions. Ace and Ashley asked me a question about an HOA. I don't particularly have a relationship with him as much as I'd like to have a relationship with him, but I'm still there. I'm answering the questions. I'm trying to be helpful. The people that are coming to Nashville that have said, I want help, I will grow, I need to take this to the next level, you better believe that I'm going to be deeply invested in their future, not only for the 2 days in Nashville, but long into the future. So I don't know when we will do it again or where we will do it again. My guess is, and I always, think forward, I'm highly confident that these people's lives will be changed. I'm highly confident that we will see success in their life in many ways: financial, business, personal, spiritual, health, fitness, right? Like once you start getting on that trajectory where your life is improving, you no longer deal with mediocrity in anything. Right? So one of the questions I asked in the homework was, how happy are you with, for instance, your health and fitness? We will not talk health and fitness in Nashville, but I guarantee you people will improve their health and fitness because I asked that question and they rated themselves a 5. And as they start to grow themselves mentally and their business improves and they start to dream bigger and think bigger, they will be dissatisfied with being a 5 in anything, right? Like, would you go date a 5? Are you interested in, like, guys, I'm really, really excited. I've got this new girlfriend. She's a 5. Well, then why would you accept a 5 for yourself? Who wants to date you? And so that's sort of my point, right? Like, even though this isn't about health or fitness, I'm just using that as an example. people's lives are going to change. People are going to take steps forward. They are going to grow. They are going to promote themselves. They're not going to be complacent. They're not going to accept the excuses. They're not going to accept the mediocrity. They are going to want to be 10s in every single thing. And that's just super, super rewarding for me. True story, posted my listings. Richard commented on it. Adjusted switch to beyond pricing. 3,000 revenue gain versus last year. Boom, free ticket, my man. I love it. All right, friends. I will see you guys later. I'm going to go ahead and post this. If you guys could do me a favor and a couple more thumbs up from 34, let's see if we can't get to 40. 40. You know why? Because I'm turning 40 this year.
No, he's not.
I'm close to 40.
No, he's not.
Listen, I feel like I'm 40. How about that? I just summited Mount Moran.
Truth bomb.
That's like a 40-year-old kind of thing to do,
Totally true.
right? But I just
Right.
showed up. Boom, summit.
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my friends, I will see you all later. Have a wonderful night. I appreciate it. Israel is a terrorist state. Okay, never trust the Jews. I'm sorry that you feel all this way voided. Good night, you guys. Thanks so much for your time. Have a wonderful night. You are 20 in my heart. I'm not even 20, man. I'm just getting started. You know, I got a photo from a friend of mine, a fraternity brother, when I was in my sophomore year at Cornell University. I went on a ski trip with him here to Jackson Hole. That's why he sent it to me. And I had long hair. It wasn't quite this long. I am going in for a haircut, but it was long nonetheless. So that was when I was 18. I was 18 in my sophomore year in college. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Richard is a solid 10. You're a 20 in your heart. Friends, until tomorrow, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your mind, your willingness to grow and stretch and just move forward. Don't accept mediocrity, and please start to think of yourself as a risk embracer. When people don't want risk and they want to pay you to take their risk, take their risk. They're paying you for it. Now be intelligent, be wise, size the position accordingly, make sure it's complementary to the existing positions you have in portfolio and you're not taking more of the same risk. Diversify your risks. That's how you live for another day. Hasta mañana. All right, we're off. Have a great night, friends.